Whoa, what is that? Oh, is this that thing about global warming?
Hey, did you say global warming? Dude, I know all about global warming.
Well, there's not much to know, right? I mean, it's just that there's pollution in the air from us humans, and that's making some places a bit hotter and more polluted, right?
Well, sort of. Here, let me explain. Sit down. What we're looking at is pollution, right? Well, where does that pollution come from? Typically, you'd think of things like cars, factories, or maybe things like mining or burning coal to make electricity. All of these things have one thing in common: carbon. Cars burn carbon to fuel themselves, and most factories run on fossil fuels as well. All fossil fuels are made out of carbon. Carbon is the building block of life. It's like water. We need it to live, and so do most things. But if you have too much, you're going to drown in it. Carbon in our atmosphere has an effect that's called the greenhouse effect. Heat and light from our sun comes down to the earth and warms us up. Then it becomes night, and the carbon in our atmosphere acts like a blanket and keeps the heat in until the sun can warm us back up so we don't freeze. But if you have too much, it's like having too many blankets in the middle of summer. But when we try and find the source of the problem, we often point in the wrong way. The real problem is farming. Most people wouldn't think of farming as a problem, but actually, when you till the ground, you release incredible amounts of carbon as well as water out of the soil and into the air. This process is called desertification. All the natural coverage that would have been on the ground is taken off when the ground is tilled. Carbon is released, and water is dried up from the sun pounding it all day. And each year, when the plants are growing, everything is sprayed with tons and tons of pesticides that will turn all of that precious soil to nothing but dust. In each handful of good soil that you pick up, there are more microorganisms in that soil than there are humans that are living or ever have lived. All of these microorganisms live off of carbon. When a plant sucks carbon out of the air, only a small percentage of it is actually used to build up the plant. Most of it is leaked out slowly through the roots of the plant to the microorganisms in the soil around it so that they can thrive and bring mineral nutrients to the plant. These microorganisms make little bubbles or nests out of the carbon. That's how they live. In other words, soil working with microorganisms has a unique ability to store tons and tons of carbon that would otherwise be in our air. But when we plow the soil and spray it with chemicals that will kill anything in it, we kill the microorganisms in it. So all we have to do is not till or use pesticides. Engineers have already made machines that will plant crops without having to till, and soil and agricultural scientists have already come up with a great method of farming that doesn't need pesticides, doesn't use chemical fertilizer, is sustainable, and will suck carbon out of our atmosphere. So all we need to do is convince farmers to farm in this way. But how do you do that? Well, when you go to a store or a supermarket and you buy something, what you're telling the store by buying that item is, put more of this in stock. And when the store needs more of it in stock, then the farmers are going to make more of it. Or, in other words, more farmers are going to be farming in that way. Because that is what sells best. Because that is how they can get more money.
But how do I know if what I'm buying has been farmed in that way or not?
Well, most of the time, things that have been farmed regeneratively, which is what this type of farming is called, will have this sign on them.
What if there isn't anything in the store that's farmed this way? I've never seen anything like that.
Well, it's true there's still not a lot of stores that sell regenerative things, but a lot of stores have places where you can make a request for what you want or need. And if you were to get some people to make some requests with you, you could get some in stock pretty fast. Or even if the store you shop at doesn't have that, you could just get people talking about it, share some information, and get the news out there. That could work pretty well too.